In today's team selection video, we're going to consider the best captaincy option between Alexander Isak, Mohamed Salah and Cole Palmer.
What?
We're also going to take a look at my benching dilemma this week between Chris Wood, João Pedro and Morgan Rogers. But without further ado, let's get stuck into today's team selection video. I just want to quickly mention before I get stuck into this defensive line, I am on the road to 1,000 subs on YouTube, so if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider it for future FPL content and deadline streams. But to kick things off with the defence today, I'm going to start off with Gabriel and David Raya, that double Arsenal defence against Spurs at home. Of course, a big game for both teams here. I think we have to remind ourselves of what happened in the reverse fixture. Of course, Gabriel coming away with that massive 15-pointer in the reverse fixture with a goal, 3 bonus points and a clean sheet. So I don't think it's out the realms of possibility for that to happen again, although I do think Spurs attacking-wise are pretty solid. Of course, Solanke has settled into the team a little bit. He's been playing pretty well recently, so maybe a clean sheet isn't as... Maybe I'm not as optimistic for a clean sheet this game week, but still, I think it's a good enough fixture for the Arsenal boys this week, especially at home. So, fingers crossed we come away with some points between them two. Been a little bit disappointing here and there for the Arsenal boys lately, but yeah, fingers crossed we come away with something from them this game for Game Week 21. Trent with the Forest away fixture. It's a big game for both teams, it really is. I think there is some revenge in order from Liverpool, of course, getting beat at home from Forest 1 goal to 0. Of course, Callum Hudson-Odoi on that counter-attack towards the end of the game, I do believe it was really deadly. So we have to remind ourselves, though, with Liverpool's double game week in the next few weeks, I don't think Trent is a sell. Would I consider him a buy this week? I don't think so either. I think Forest is a difficult fixture to play Trent in, although I think the upside of Trent every single week is massive. He does have a massive attacking role in that Liverpool side. Some of the forward passes he makes, shots on goal, of course, we've seen him score on the Cup midweek. So potentially some attacking returns from Trent this week could go a long way for me, but clean sheet wise, am I expecting too much from Trent this week? Not particularly, although I just don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in this fixture. Of course, Forest set up really good defensive, sort of that back line is really solid. Their positioning is really strict in that back line as well. So, yeah, I just don't see a lot of goals in this fixture particularly. With Robinson, the West Ham away fixture even, obviously Potter has been appointed now. Maybe that changes things with sort of the fixture difficulty rating for West Ham, but I feel as though we do need to see a few games in the Premier League from Graham Potter and West Ham to really get a good gauge on how West Ham are going to perform in the Premier League under Graham Potter. Maybe a bit more defensive than Lopetegui. Who knows how it's going to go down? Obviously, Bowen is a massive, massive miss for West Ham, so maybe that favours a clean sheet for Robinson ever so slightly, but still, we're just dealing with some uncertainties with that West Ham team at the moment. Of course, they did get beat by Villa 2 goals to 1 in the Cup, so yeah, a lot of things to consider with these fixtures. On paper, the defence doesn't look too strong this game week, but I do believe anything can happen with these fixtures in particular. Of course, a derby match between Arsenal and Spurs, Forest and Liverpool, both kind of challenging for those Champions League spots. Liverpool going for that title charge. You could argue Forest as well, but I know Forest fans would be really happy with that Champions League place. Obviously, West Ham signing a new manager. A lot of uncertainties in this defensive line in terms of fixtures, but still, I think overall the defence looks pretty decent this game week. Straight away, you'll notice that the captaincy armband isn't on Palmer or Mohamed Salah this game week. At the moment, it is on a different player in my forward lineup. You can probably guess who that is, but we'll save that for the next section of the video when I speak about the forwards. But we'll quickly speak about the fixture for Mohamed Salah. I did briefly mention it when I spoke about Trent just before. I just don't see a lot of goals in this fixture. For me, both sides are going to want the win. Both sides are really aiming in that title charge, in for the top 4 sort of position. I just don't see a lot of goals. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this. Obviously, I watched that Forest versus Wolves fixture really closely just to analyse whether, ISAK was a great captain or maybe Salah has a few chances with the Forest defence on how they defend, but Forest look really strong defensively, I have to admit. There were chances for Wolves in that fixture, probably Cunha being out was a really big miss for them, but at the moment, Salah doesn't have the captaincy armband for me. And Mbeumo, obviously Manchester City at home. I think it's a good fixture. It's a good enough fixture to keep him in my eyes. There is the option to go to Bruno Fernandes or Amad Diallo this week and sell. And Mbeumo, of course, Man City at home. Then Liverpool next game week isn't ideal for Mbeumo, but still, past that, I'm probably going to want to own him anyway. So, is there really a need to transfer him out right now when I'm trying to bank my transfers and sort of prepare for this double game week coming up? I don't think so. I think it's sensible to keep a hold of him, but that could change if I do want to get a bit bold with my transfers and go with that Bruno Fernandes or Amad Diallo move, especially when they play the worst team in the Premier League, Southampton, at home. Morgan Rogers makes his way back into the side after a suspension. Everton away from home, of course. Everton, another team with a new manager, David Moyes, so potentially new manager bounce is all that to consider, but, you know, with that Leicester fixture they've just had, Aston Villa, Rodgers was a massive miss. He really was. He really does link up that play going forward, and I'm hoping he does that against this Everton side, so fingers crossed we see something from Rodgers this game week. Cole Palmer, the thing is with the Bournemouth at home fixture, Bournemouth have been playing really well in the Premier League. I think it's maybe 7 to 8 game weeks now they've been unbeaten in the Premier League. They're putting up some really great wins, really great performances. Chelsea, the last 4 game weeks, 2 draws, 2 losses. Palmer getting 2 goals, which is still good from an FPL asset, but with the fixtures he's had, maybe I expected a little bit more from Cole Palmer. But with Lavia back in the side now, maybe it gives Enzo a little bit more of a license to get forward than he has had done when Lavia's been out. So maybe that's something to consider, but I don't think it's going to matter too much in this fixture. I do think it's a really close call for captaincy this game week. It really, really is. But we'll speak about that in the next section of the video when I do reveal who is my captain. But you can probably guess who it is right now. Ismail Assar, though, with that Leicester away fixture, Eze just keeps outperforming him, and I do believe in the cup right now Eze has just scored a goal, so yeah, maybe something to consider. When Eze's confidence is really high, I do think he's definitely a better asset than Ismail Assar. The penalties and the price point is kind of the thing that steers me more towards Sarr. And of course, at the time of my Ismail Assar transfer, it was the only way I could get Alexander Isak in, and it has resulted in many green arrows in a row for me. I believe I'm on my 5th green arrow in a row after that transfer, so things have went well. But would I rather have Eze right now than Ismail Assar? I think so, but we have to consider the money saved by going Ismail Assar. Obviously, with the assistant manager chip coming up, you're going to have to buy that manager. So every little bit of money saved at the moment will support sort of that assistant manager chip when I do choose to use it. Possibly coming up in that double game week is when I use it, but I will have to analyse that over the next few weeks in FPL. But overall, with the midfield, things are looking really good. There is a possible idea for a transfer to go to Bruno Fernandes or Amad Diallo just for that Southampton at home fixture. But yeah, things are looking pretty strong in the midfield. Let's move up now to the forward line. Now, there's a few things I want to speak about when I bring up the forwards here. Of course, you can see now I've revealed Chris Wood on the bench there. João Pedro is in the squad, and the captaincy armband is on Alexander Isak. I think I'll start with the benching dilemma this game week because it's a really interesting one to consider. João Pedro had I believe it was a twisted ankle or something like that in training. He's had the MRI scan. He posted something on Twitter saying scan was okay, tick. Albion through in the cup, tick. Things were looking positive in the tweet he made. Obviously, we can't always rely on the player to give us the information whether he's available or not, but if he's saying things are okay, it does give me more confidence to play him this game week against Ipswich away from home. The debate of the benching headache, though, is between Rodgers, him, and Chris Wood. Now, at the moment, Chris Wood is benched. And for me, now, when you consider the Liverpool home fixture for Chris Wood, it's a home fixture which does give him sort of a little bit of a boost overall. The City ground is a difficult place to go to, but I feel as though Rodgers and João Pedro could outscore him this game week, just how defensively Liverpool can put up performance-wise. You know, we've seen a lot of clean sheets from them this season. It's such an important game for them to win, in my opinion, Liverpool, this game week. Obviously, Forest, you could say the same thing, but obviously the reverse fixture, Forest coming away with the win at Anfield. Liverpool are going to look to come away with the win at the City ground. So for me, Chris Wood is benched at the moment. Iwani is back for Forest, so maybe we could see a little bit of rotation through the game. Maybe Chris Wood coming off a little bit earlier, possibly even Iwani starting, but I really do doubt that. I think Chris Wood definitely will start in the form he's in. But for me right now, Rodgers and João Pedro starts. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more news about João Pedro to maybe back up the claim that he is okay and available for the Premier League. But for now, that's how I'm dealing with the benching dilemma. It definitely could change at any point though. The captaincy decision with Alexander Isak is a really interesting one because it is so tight. My decision making for this is I just think Newcastle and the form they're in the form Alexander Isak's in especially, it's definitely someone to consider for a captaincy option this game week. I mentioned many times in this video, I just don't see too many goals in that Forest fixture. When they played Wolves, when Forest plays Wolves, that is, there were chances for Wolves, and maybe a bit of quality in those areas that Liverpool definitely possess could result in attack and returns for Liverpool, and obviously the win in the Premier League. But at the moment, I just think Alexander Isak's absolutely on fire. I think it's like 7 or 8 game weeks he's scored in a row. Unbelievable, consistent. You know what you're going to get from Newcastle and Alexander Isak. So at the moment, he is my captain for this game week. It is a bit scary going against Salah in the form he's in and Liverpool's in. Of course, going against Palmer, even with that home fixture of Bournemouth, is a little bit scary as well because Palmer can just pop off in any game week. And of course, Lavia being back maybe supports him a little bit more going forward for Chelsea. Who really knows? All of these things definitely could change in my game week team. You know, I could change over to Salah or Palmer captaincy. I could bring in Chris Wood and bench Morgan Rodgers. But yeah, this is what I'm currently dealing with the squad. Things could change, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how the next few weeks of FPL could go. Of course, double game week on the horizon. I have to be prepared for that. Get the Liverpool players in, possibly an Everton player in the defence, maybe Pickford, Mikalenko. We'll see how things turn out, but overall the squad's looking pretty decent for this game week, so yeah, fingers crossed we have a good game week for game week 21. As always, to outro my videos, I like to give you guys at home a massive thank you for supporting the FPL Mugs YouTube channel. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you drop a like, and if you aren't yet subscribed, please do consider it for future FPL content and deadline streams. But that is absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.